In this series, we'll learn to create a pair of shoes similar to these. We'll cover modeling, UVing, creating texture maps, and we'll also cover creating a high detail sculpt so we can bake normal maps. This video covers the modeling and UVing. Here's a list of plugins I use, so make sure you install these before you do this tutorial. We're going to pick up where we left off, where we finished the dress. If you didn't do all of this tutorial stuff and you just want to make a shoe, check the links below. There will be a place where you can grab just a leg here and you can do this whole tutorial without having to worry about any of this dress or body. Okay, so let's get started here. Okay, so let's grab our body here and we will going to go to face mode, front view, make sure we're in X-ray mode. Yes, we are. So let's just grab a part of the leg that we can use so we can work. And we will Shift D to duplicate that, escape to drop it, mesh, separate, and selection. Okay, tab out of there. And so let's grab everything, all the body and stuff, and let's just hide it. So we got all of our mesh here, and let's just hide all that. So now we have just a leg. We should make a lamp. Okay, so now we've got, so this will be our reference for our body. We're going to hide everything else so it doesn't get in the way. So now we're going to make basically a blank shoe. It's useful to have these things just around and ready to go, so that way it saves you a bit of work, so you don't have to do this over and over again. So let's grab our foot, go to X-ray mode, let's go over here and let's just grab enough meshes so it's the height of a calf. And then we will Shift D again, escape to drop it, mesh, separate, and selection. Let's tab out of there. Then grab our boot here. So this is our boot. And let's change the material over here and hide that. Click new. Let's just make this like a blue-gray. We'll have a blue-gray boot. And let's offset from the skin. So let's go to edit mode, A, Alt S, and let's just push it out a bit. So it's, I think it's too much. Let's zoom in a bit here. And let's Alt S, push that out as much as you like it to look. And then let's go and delete these toes. So let's go here and grab that, and we grabbed too much. So Control Alt Shift and click on one of the lines here, and it'll do that. Okay, so then let's just delete these toes, X and faces. Okay, so let's turn off our sub D modifier here. Let's turn off X-ray. Let's grab, let's go to edge mode and grab a couple edges here, couple edges there. Let's just close up this whole front area here. So we'll hit E to extrude, escape to drop it, G, Y to pull that forward. Let's go to top view and scale it in the X. So we're just going to roughly close this thing off here. Make sure you install the plugin F2 that I mentioned earlier. You can do that with it. It's a great tool. Hit F again to close it. Okay. So I find it useful to have one row of faces wrapping around like that. It's kind of useful because sometimes shoes like tennis shoes will wrap around like that. So let's go ahead and put that in there. So we will, let's see here, what will we do? We will hit E to extrude, escape to drop it, G, Y to pull it back, and scale that in. Then we'll hit F and F. So now we've got that wrapping around. And let's do the same thing for the bottom. E to extrude, drop it, G, Y. I can't see here. And let's see, let's do this G, Z. So this is the same height as this one over here. And then let's hit F and F. Okay, so we've got that kind of wrapping around. Okay, let's go to edit mode, edge mode, click here, Control R, add a couple loops. So we're matching up here, F to close it up. So I'm thinking, where do we need geometry to build out shoes? Toes flex a lot here. It's good to add geometry here and in this area, so that way it can flex nicely. And then shoes are pretty complicated, so let's just sprinkle some geometry throughout this so we have enough geometry to build whatever shoe we want to make. So let's do that. So it's Control R and add that loop, Control R and add this loop, and I don't want the geometry to go all the way up the legs. Let's delete some faces so we can stop our loop. And then Control R and add that here. Let's add some here and here, then we can flex in this area. Then let's add some geometry here. I don't think we need it up here, so let's delete some faces, X and faces, and Control R to add that. Let's also close up the bottom of the foot. So let's go to edge mode and grab an edge. Let's try and get a wraparound here. So it's just E to extrude, R to rotate. Let's pull this down a bit. And E to extrude. Let's do the same thing here. E and R, G. So this way, that's lining up here. That's lining up there. This is lining up there. Let's E to extrude and R to rotate it again. So now this is lining up there. Let's just join those two. And then let's go Control R to add a couple loops. So that's all lining up here and matching down there. Let's go F to join that. Control R to add a loop. And then F, F, and F, F. And that should be good. We'll have to clean this all up. Let's go to point mode and click these two and M at first. And grab those two, Shift R, Shift R. I can't see what's going on here. Shift R. Grab those two, Shift R. I think that one's already closed. This is not. Okay, so that's pretty good. We can just click points and double hit G a few times to line things up a little bit nicer. We'll probably move all of this later anyway, but this kind of gets us a nice start. Okay, let's close up the rest of this here. Okay, let's go and close this up here. So I think we could add some geometry here, and that's weird. So let's just delete some faces and then add our loop. And then let's close it. So I think that'll be okay. And then let's close this guy up here. So point mode and F, and then edge mode and F. And then let's see here. I think that will close it. Okay. And double hit G a few times. Okay, it's kind of like a little puzzle game. Then let's close the rest of this up. So let's go here and close that, and we need to add some geometry somewhere. So I think we can add something here. Oops, here. And then close that and close that. Let's close it over here too. F, and then FF. And we can do something like that and pull these guys down. Pull these guys down. Yeah, so it's kind of looking vaguely like a shoe. And while we're here, let's just complete these seams, these red lines. So these were left over from when we created the body. So what we'll do is we'll just use them and tweak them how we want them. So we'll go to edge and clear seam. And then we'll add them back in, edge and mark seam. And so seams are how you define boundaries when you're creating a UV map. So edge and mark seam. And I'll talk about that later in the video, but since we've got them here, let's just finish them. Okay, let's add some reference images so we can see what we're gonna create here. So let's leave edit mode and go to Shift A and image reference. Let's go to our reference images and let's go and grab this one here so we can see kind of like what a shoe looks like. And then let's go to the side view here, Shift A, image reference, and let's grab a side view. Let's scale this down to roughly the size we're going to be making. And so let's rotate it Z 180. Then let's make this transparent. And then let's move it in front of the foot, GX, like that. So we can roughly line it up with our foot. Scale a bit down. So scale a bit more. So we're not totally lining up, but I think something like that. Shoes are kind of weird because there's a lot of airspace in the front. So it kind of doesn't make sense, but that's kind of what I've noticed at least. And let's add a bottom reference. So Shift A, image reference. Let's grab a bottom reference. Let's also make this transparent and scale it down. Rotate it. Y 180. Okay, scale this down a bit and roughly line it up with our foot. I'm going to say something like that. Okay, and let's this is further south than our foot, so we can use it as a reference, and this is further to the outside, so we can use that also. And let's just pull this back so it's not in the way. And I think that's probably all we need for the reference images. So let's see what we got. Okay, so it's hard to see this here. So shoes usually have some kind of flat area on the bottom, and a lot of times they'll have a heel, so I usually build that into my template shoe. Even if it doesn't have a heel, you can just either take it out or make it really small. So let's go and build that. Also, the front of the shoe, usually this area here it's round, but it's more consistent, goes all the way around, and then this top area pulls upwards. It gets more becomes more of a trapezoid, I guess. Let's go and build all that. So let's grab our shoe here, and let's go and make everything else invisible. And go to the side view. And then, actually, let's just look at our shoe. Okay. So go to edit mode, and let's do this. Let's grab a bunch of edges here. Go to X-ray mode. Let's unpick this area and make sure we're transforming around the bounding box center and SZ0. Let's do the same thing for here and unselect this stuff here. Maybe keep that one, SZ0. So this kind of squares up that front foot area. And let's do the same thing for here and here. This might get a little bit funky, so I'm going to put a 3D cursor here by holding shift and right clicking, and then transforming around the bounding box 3D center, 3D cursor, and SZ0. Okay, so that's pretty consistent. Doesn't look really good. So maybe let's just rotate it a bit like that. Okay. Let's go to the side view here. Let's do the same thing for down here. SZ ups. Let's go around bounding box center. SZ0. Okay. And then let's square up back here. So usually it feels like it goes lower than it peels upwards. So let's go and do the peel upward area here. So SZ0. Grab that. Same thing, just SC0. This one, no. SZ0 since we're here. And then let's grab that one too. SZ0. Okay, so that's kind of nice. And I think all this area should actually be kind of flat too. So let's start off with the flat. We'll probably have to pull it upwards because shoes tend to have a they kind of curve upwards. So let's flatten it out first. SZ0. And pull it down a bit. Unselect that. And so I'm looking here. I'm going to pull this upwards so we can curve it like a shoe. But a lot of times there's the heel there. I'm going to have a heel. So I'm just looking to make sure this could be made into a heel shape. And I think it can. So let's pull this up here. And then let's turn on points and proportional editing and GC. Okay, so pretty rough. We'll have to do a lot more work on this. Shoes are very lumpy, non-constructed things, so they're I find them a little bit hard to model. Anyway, okay, so we're getting some progress here. So now let's go and build in this bottom platform and a heel. Okay, so I think we should clean this up a bit more first before we make it into our little heel, our little platform. Let's make this all even. SZ0 and GZ. Let's pull it up a little bit higher than our ball of our foot. And then let's see here. This is just kind of like using your feelings to shape it nicely. Maybe we make this go straight across. So let's go like that. SY0, SZ0, and then GZ. It feels a little better. And let's pull these a little bit more in line. Okay. I know I said we were going to do the platform, but I just realized this is not shaped like a shoe yet. So let's, especially the toe. So let's do that first. So kind of the easiest way I've found is you just find a nice bottom view of a shoe and just use that as a guide for the shoe. So let's make sure we're in X-ray mode, grab some points, make sure proportional editing is on, and just hit G and scroll the mouse wheel and just keep doing this until it's roughly following the shape of the reference image. And let's make sure we don't grab the leg here. So we will hide that. In fact, let's hide more. Let's hide this. Back to the bottom. And let's see, grab some of these and pull them in. Grab some of those and pull them in. We're still staying pretty loose. Let's just get this to be a little bit more in shape like this shoe here. Alright, that's really good enough here. Let's see what we've got. Let's go to isolate mode and okay, that feels a lot more like a shoe. Let's grab edit mode, Alt H, out of X-ray mode, and this is really popping out, so it's Alt S and pull that in and pull that in. In fact, let's just smooth some of these things out. So vertex and smooth vertices. It's a little better. Let's smooth some of these. So select M, and then vertex mode and vertex smooth vertices. Okay, it's a little bit better. And I know I said we were going to make the platform part, but let's roughly make this fit our foot too. So let's grab our leg and our boot, then isolate everything else and see if we're poking through, and we are. So let's go and fix that. Nice little trick with moving geometry that you want to put back is use the object origin. So let me just show you here. So we will move this 3D cursor to the 0. So Shift S and 1, and it moves it to the 0 point. Then grab your object and go to Object, Set Origin to 3D Cursor, like that. And then you can move this wherever you want. And then if you just move it, if you Alt G, it brings it back to its the origin. So let's move this aside here. Let's look at our foot. So I think the foot is not shaped super good. Like it might be a little bit wide here. I think the shoe looks more natural than the foot does. So let's go and modify our foot to match our shoe. So Alt G. Let's grab our foot here. Okay, then let's go to sculpt mode. Alt Object and sculpt mode. Let's go to our elastic tool, and F to make that a bit bigger. And let's just pull this in slightly until it's not poking through. Let's make that a bit smaller. And what's nice is that we haven't rigged our character or anything yet, so it's relatively painless to modify the feet. Pull this in a bit too. Actually, I'm going to leave the bottom poking through. Because I don't want to mess with the bottom of her feet. And with the shoe, I'm just going to fake it so it covers up her feet. So, and the reason why is I don't want to make her feet look funny when she's not wearing shoes. So let's leave that there. And let's mess with these toes here. So for this, I want to be a little bit careful because you don't want to deform the toes too much. So let's see what we got here. So let's go in edit mode, X-ray mode, and let's grab all of, let's grab all of those. Let's go back out of isolate and see what we got here. Let's go to the top view. Make sure proportional editing is turned on. And so I'm going to, just want to pivot this whole thing. I'm going to kind of like rock it that way. So let's drop a 3D cursor, say like right here. And then let's transform around the 3D cursor. And then hit R. Oh yeah, hit R. And then you can see the whole thing just kind of rocks over. So let's just get that in shape. Then let's isolate to make sure our foot's not all really weird. I think it actually looks a little bit better. Looks a bit back, a little thick back here. Okay, let's not waste too much time tweaking things. This is where you lose all your time. Okay, so let's not do that. Okay, so we've got our shoe and it's fitting roughly, and so now let's make our platform for our shoe. Okay, let's go to object mode and grab our shoe blank here, and let's edit mode and zoom in a bit here. Turn off X-ray, go to face mode. Let's just check a few loops. Okay, that's not good. That's good. That's not good. Good, good. Okay, so there's a little bit of stuff that we need to fix here. So when you have all quad topology, if you alt click on an edge, it'll select everything in line and it'll create a nice clean loop. So this is good for when you're doing animations and you're bending your mesh. Quads bend nicer. When you have triangles, you can see kind of deformations in the surface or the highlights. So it's kind of nice to have quads. Also, when you're modeling, say, if I want to modify this boot to make a shorter boot, if you go to edge mode and click an edge and Control R, you can see that it's easy because things just add loops the way you'd expect them to. If you have triangles or things, it won't work quite the same way. However, triangles can be sometimes useful if you want to break a loop without spending a long time trying to figure out how to do it. So you can throw in triangles in strategic places to help make your topology easier to work with. And so where it's okay to add triangles is where it's not going to bend and no one's going to see it. And so the shoes or the bottoms of the feet, that's a great place to put it. So let's see here. So that one's good. That one's good. So that one's bad. So this is coming down all the way down here, which is good, down to here. And it wraps over here. So let's add looks like it wraps here and there. Maybe there. So let's add a couple of cuts here. So we'll hit K to cut and just snap to these corners like that. And now if you do the alt click, you can see it stops right at those triangles. And so this is just more manageable. So that's pretty good. That's good. That's weird too. No, I don't like it. So this would be nice if it just runs around all the way up there. Cutting is not going to help that, so let's go to face mode and grab some faces, X and faces, and just add in the geometry so you get the loop you want, and check it. So that's okay. Then just close that up and do something like that. I think that's okay. Okay, let's see here. Let's continue checking our loops. Good, good. Good, 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 good. It's a little weird, but that's okay. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Let's check this. I don't exactly like that. So I think it'd be nice if this wrapped around there. And this probably doesn't matter because it's the foot, so it doesn't. No one's going to really see this, but let's just do it. So we'll go to point mode, hit F, pull that in a bit, go to edge mode, hit F, and hit F again. So now that loops around there. Okay, that's good. These don't matter there, but this does. Okay, so I think we're good. Okay, let's look at an example of a shoe blank. So let's turn this on, turn off isolate, return on isolate. Okay, so let's just make this real simple, generic shoe, little platform on bottom with a little bit of a heel. This can be used to make many different types of shoes, and so it's nice to have these around. So let's go and hide that. Grab our shoe here, go here. In fact, let's call this blank. And let's duplicate it because it might be useful to have a real simple blank like that. Okay, so shoe blank. And we want to make a platform. So let's go and, so it's nice to have the, let's pull on that reference. So it kind of pulls inwards for the top leather part, and the platform kind of pops out. And you can kind of see it back here too. Kind of pulls inwards. Here I guess it goes down. So there needs to be some kind of pulling in for the top part. Let's start with making that. And we'll do that by coming here, going to edge mode and hitting Control R. And let's pull this kind of like down to there. Okay. And then what we'll do is do Control R again and cut it there. Let's Alt click that in face mode and delete like that. Let's hit L to grab the whole thing, and let's pull this whole thing. So now so let's pull this whole thing down the length of how thick our little platform is going to be. So GZ, something like that. And then let's flatten this out a bit. So go to edge mode, grab that, go to the front view and GZ, so it's roughly flat. And then let's scale this out because the platform pushes out of it. So Alt S, and that's not going to do it. SY and SX. Oh, you know what? I'm transforming around the 3D cursor. So do that. SY, SX. And that's probably enough. Okay. Then hit EZ, pull that up. And I think back here, well, we can tweak all the shapes later. Let's just construct this first. So let's grab these two here and hit F to close it. Then let's go here and F. Let's go over here and keep hitting F until we see it close. Okay, so now we've got a platform, and then let's make sure our foot fits it. Object mode, grab our leg, isolate mode. Okay, so our foot's sticking through still. So let's grab a few faces and GZ and pull it down. Actually, let's do this. GZ and pull it down. And this is a nice way to create a sense of a heel without making the foot actually bend. And let's pull this guy out some. Okay. Let's also sharpen this shoe so it's easier to see that little platform. So edge, mark sharp, and then Shift E right here, and +1. So now it looks like a little platform deal. Let's also add that small heel. So we go to the bottom here. The heel shouldn't be curving, it should be flat. So let's actually just grab these here and SY0, so that's flattened out. GY and pull it forward a little bit. And then let's pull this one here back to match that here. Okay, pull that a bit also. And let's pull this back too. Y. Okay, so now that heel's pretty flat. Let's just go to face mode, grab these faces, and EZ, and pull it down. Let's go to side view. And let's make this platform match the shoe up here. Go this front view here. Actually, that's SZ0 and then GZ. Okay, like that. And then let's sharpen that up too. That one, that one, that one, that one, and I think that one. So Shift E +1, and then edge, mark sharp. Okay, so, and it, you know, it looks really funny right now, but we'll just construct this first, then we can shape it into shape. Okay, so let's hide this guy here. Let's hide that. Let's leave this one for now. So let's just shape this foot, this shoe blank here, so it's more shoe-like, normal shoe-like. Let's go to X-ray mode, wireframe mode. Let's just grab some of these and pull it back. And I'm not going to use reference. Whoops. Okay, make sure you're in X-ray mode so you're selecting all the way through. I'm not using reference for this. I'm just going to shape it until I'm happy with it. So make this how you like it, because you'll be using it to make your own shoes later. I think maybe curve the heel a bit more. And I think I want this whole front section to come down more. So I'm going to pull the whole area where I flattened up a bunch of those points, and I'm going to pull this whole thing here, that thing down, like that. And let's see here, feels a little better. This shoe is feeling a little blobby. So let's sharpen that up a bit. So when you have a curve and your edges are closer together, the curve gets sharper. So I think they're closer here, so it's sharper, but over here, they're wider, and so it's contrasting, and it contrasts the softness to that sharpness, so it makes this look weird. So let's double hit G and pull that down like that. Maybe fade it out up here. Okay, that feels better. And this is looking a little, it's like it's bumping out there. Go to sculpt mode and elastic. Let's so I made all these faces, so let's initiate the face set. Okay, and let's pull this down a bit, turn off mirror. The sculpting tool is great to just tweak your mesh. Using the sculpt and the elastic tool is great, or you can hold shift and use the smooth tool, and it smooths things down. I don't like that. You can set the strength of the tool up here, and the smooth tool is here, so you can lower this to like 0.1 something. So now when you're using your elastic tool and you hold shift, the smooth tool won't be as strong. And we could maybe use some smooth right here and right there. And right here, right there. Maybe there too. Obviously you don't want to smooth over things like this, because this is more constructed down here, so it's going to mess up that area. Oh, let's fix this shoe here. Edit mode and point mode. Let's grab some of these and GX. Let's pull back that reference, because shoes are kind of weird. The backs of shoes are just the weirdest shaped things. So the back of the shoe kind of curves in. So it does get narrower at the base, but not a lot. Okay, so let's go and do that. That feels more appropriate. GX. Okay, then let's mess with the rest of these so it just kind of matches. Turn on proportional editing and let's just pull some of this. We pull this one in too. I don't have X-ray turned on because I don't want to select all the way up the leg, so it's making it hard to get all these points. Proportional editing should fix that, but let's just be careful here. Okay. Okay, feels like a, feels like almost like a nice even template shoe. Okay. Then let's make sure our body's not poking through again, which it is. So let's go to object mode. And I just realized this this leg is just our temporary leg, and we're actually modifying that. So that's okay because we can go and just attach this back to our, we'll delete the leg from our body and reattach it. So it's not a big deal. And so let's go and grab that. Let's go to sculpt mode and the elastic tool, not that tool, this one, and modify it just enough so it pokes in, doesn't poke out. And let's make sure it's not weird looking. Yeah, and I think it's okay. Okay, let's name this shoe. Let's see here. Let's call this foot blank. Call this shoe blank. And let's duplicate that. This will be our shoe. Okay, so let's go to our side view here and let's look at this shoe. So this whole inside area of the shoe needs to be cut out. So let's look for the line of where to cut that out. So it looks like there's a heel area, and there's a platform on the bottom, and there's a toe area. So let's go and this sketch doesn't totally match up. So maybe we can move this. Well, it looks like the shoe pulls up at the front, so maybe we can do that. So let's drop our 3D cursor like right here. Grab the front there. Proportional editing is on. Let's transform around the 3D cursor. And R. And let's scroll the mouse wheel up. So it kind of does something like that. And I think this needs to pull forward more. So it's GY and pull that a bit more forward and rotate it a bit more. And it gets pointier. So you can see this faint blurry line. It shows the shape of the shoe. Our shoe is thicker, so let's go and make this pointier. So I think we can grab those, drop a 3D cursor, and rotate that down a bit. Maybe grab some more. And we're not matching perfectly here. The photo is not, it's not a perfect side view photo, so you can't follow it exactly. Just use it as kind of reference. Okay, so then now let's figure out where to cut it here. So I'm just gonna go turn off X-ray mode. Go to face mode. I'm just gonna start picking some faces that are outside where we want to cut it. So I think those we can all delete. Okay, X and faces. And let's do the same thing for the opposite side. Let's see, let's do this. I think that's not exactly the same here. Okay, we'll have to do some weird stuff here. So let's do that. Yeah. X faces. Then L and X. Delete all that. Okay. So now let's make this little heel area. So if we look at let's look at our other shoe here. Let's Shift D, Y. Could have sworn I already changed that. Hide this one. Okay. So it looks like our heel kind of pulls up. I mean this cup for the heel pulls up from the actual heel. So let's do the same thing here. So we can grab those, delete that, and grab these and delete that. And let's delete it up to the platform. So the platform is starting right there. Okay. And it's actually not narrow enough. Oops. So let's scale it in some. And let's transform around bounding box center and S and turn off proportional editing. And okay, let's just pull that in a bit. Okay. And let's hide this, hide that. So let's make this curve around here. And so I think it'd be nice to have the faces peel around in an arc. So if you're doing some kind of stitching detail, it just kind of follows it. It's a little bit easier. So let's just delete some faces. And then let's just grab these two and just hit F to join it. And hit Control R. Add a couple cuts in there. And let's just hit G to move it a bit like that. It's pretty rough. Let's do the same thing over here. Let's delete that, and delete that. X faces edge, F to join it, Control R, add two loops, and G to just move it. Okay, so we've got kind of this shape peeling around, which is nice. And then let's figure out how to close these holes up. So point mode, let's click that, MA, click, Shift R duplicates your last command, then click, Shift R, and we've got unevenness here. Delete that. And let's do this. 2, 3. Oh, we've got an extra here. Okay, so let's just make this, even this out. We will do X, dissolve edges, and now we're consistent. Okay, so we've got a little heel guy there, and let's work on the front. Okay, let's bring up our reference here and see how far this opening goes. It goes roughly there. So let's make sure X-ray is turned on and move that in the Y. So it's roughly the same location. Okay. And then we need to just blend this line over to here. So how do we do that? Let's just figure it out. And I think it was nice to have this loop running around the edge of that area. So let's do the same thing for the front. Okay, so I think what we're going to do, oh, and also I want to have a nice cut along the shoe here. And I want to have that in the geometry. So let's move some of these back. Let's turn X-ray mode on. So let's get this line to be straight across. And I'm just using the just double hitting G a whole bunch. I think I missed something here. There we go. So we have a nice clean cut line going across the whole toe. And I think to move some of this over also. Okay, then let's pull in the front of our shoe. So we get that curving thing going on. And then let's temporarily cut this through to roughly make our shape. Let's do the same thing for this side. Oops. Okay. Let's just roughly do that so we temporarily get an idea of what we're going to make. Okay, and let's go into face mode and delete some of these faces. I think that's pretty good. And then we need to connect this edge to that edge. So it just runs in a clean loop. So let's figure out how to do that. Okay, let's check our example and unisolate. So I'm trying to go for a little toe area like that. And it looks like their toe area is smaller than what we've got right here. So let's make our toe smaller. So let's go to edge mode and grab some of these and pull it forward because they're in the way. And then let's grab some of these and move that forward and grab some of these. Oops. Okay, that's a better, smaller toe styled cap. I'm not sure what those are called, but it looks awful stylish. Let's just straighten these up a bit. And like that. Like that. Okay. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Now let's go back to creating this loop up over here. I think we're going to just draw it in our shoe here again, like that, and like that, and like that. So we're kind of drawing it, kind of constructing it. It's a little bit free form and a little bit clicking on points that just happen to be close by, and like that. Okay, let's go to point mode and we'll double hit G a few times to make that shape a little bit, this little band to be a little bit more consistent and even. Okay, something like that. And then we need to clean up all these things. And so what I think we're going to do is just extrude it. We're going to extrude a piece of temporary building geometry. So E to extrude that. And then we're going to just delete all these here, like that, X and faces, and then go to edge mode and use F2 to see if this works. I'm actually a little bit surprised it's working. Okay, I thought we'd be like one off, but that works pretty good. So let's re-grab our temporary geometry, X and faces. So now we've got a loop there, and let's just figure out how to deal with things like that and that. So if we turn on our sub D surface here, you can see that those these triangles or these poles here, it makes this line here not nice. It's kind of like warbly. And so I want that one to be smooth also. And so let's go and make that. Let's turn off our sub D here. Let's delete. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut that also. So let's hit K to cut. And then I'm trying to look here to see, I want to reuse as much of these edges as possible, but we'll cut it where necessary. So I think we can start from here and move it forward. So let's just cut it from there to continue that line, to cut that there, and then I think we can snap it to there. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. Let's hit K to cut. And I think we will reuse that one. And then we will, I think we'll actually skip that one, but use that one and that one. Okay. Let's do the same thing. Let's just delete a bunch of faces here. Actually, I think that one's okay. And delete a bunch of faces here. X and faces. Let's use the F tool to see what happens. And we didn't close OK. That's okay. Just add a cut. Okay, we'll have to deal with this triangle there later. Let's do the same thing here. F, F, and F. That one's better. We still have a triangle. And let's turn on our sub D. Okay, so now you can see that this loop is nice and smooth. Okay, so now let's go and deal with these little triangle situations. Okay, I'm looking at these poles here, and they're going to mess up our toe cut line. So that's not smooth. So let's go and fix that also. So I think what we're going to do is going to Control R and have that loop come around. You can see our loop cut stops where we don't have quads. It's kind of a reason why you use quads. Let's go and let's see here. Let's go and delete that one, delete that one, delete that one, and delete that one. Then Control R. So I'm just deleting some faces and trying to continue this loop around. And then I'll attach it. And let's delete our triangles too. Triangle. X and faces. And it's just F to close that. F to close that. And that is creating a pole situation, so we don't want that. So let's go on this side. So it's not a pole. And delete these. And then let's go and do that, and that, and that. Whoops. And that, and that. So that closes it up. It's ugly, we can fix that later. Let's check our sub D. Okay, so this is now smooth, and this remains to be smooth. And we'll have to fix all this mess there. Let's do the same. And do we get rid of our triangle? Yeah, we get rid of our triangle. Okay, so let's do the same thing for this side. We will F that, so that way we keep our loop running around. Then let's do that and that. Let's use the F command again, and again. Let's actually take this out, X dissolve edges, and then F. That's good. Oh, we got a triangle down here, and that's okay because we can just do that. Because that's not the part that we really cared about. It was this one. Oops. Oops. That one. And we've got a mess down there. So let's go and cut something. Let's go and cut this. Yep, okay. So we don't care about that one. We care about that one and that one. And that looks good. And that looks good. Okay. Let's go and clean this up. Okay, let's leave isolate. And let's hide these sketches. And let's grab our shoe and our leg and go back into isolate and grab our shoe and numberpad period to zoom in. And let's just shape this shoe to fit better. So we'll turn off the sub D, go to edit mode, go to point mode. These are sticking out. So let's double hit G. It's a nice little trick just to move things in place. Then let's go to sculpt mode, face sets, initiate face sets, and let's just pull things in shape a bit. And we should keep toggling this back and forth so you're kind of aware of what it looks like with the sub D turned on and off. But we've got a nice good foundation mesh made, so now we just need to use our artistry to make this look nice. Oh, we got some toes poking through the shoe here. Let's cover those up. And this whole shoe top is sticking out too much. So let's go to edit mode, face mode, and it's not great. Okay, let's just grab a bunch of these here. Like that. And then let's turn on our sub D and proportional editing and G and Z and mess with the scroll wheel. We don't want to move the base, so make sure this is not doing that. Let's just pull this down a bit. Actually, let's do this. We're going to go to side view here, drop our 3D cursor, transform around 3D cursor. We're going to move it here with the R rotate command, but we'll look at it here. I think that's a little bit better, and we'll also GZ, pull it down just a bit. Makes it a little too pointy. Pull it up a bit, and GZ. That's a little bit better. Let's go ahead and pop these out here. So Alt S, Alt S. Just do it in sculpt, it's easier. It's faster. And let's pull this in a bit here. Check the heel too. I think that's sticking out a little bit too far. Oops, too much. And here the heel's poking through. Oops. Oops, this. And when you make sure you're grabbing the right point. And let's see here. Okay, so I think our shoe's looking pretty good. Let's turn off our sub D and go to edit mode, point mode. This looks a little bit weird. Let's pull that back here. Pull this in here. Let's grab that and Alt S. Like when you're sculpting with the sub D turned on, you can get this to look good, but then if you turn off your sub D, sometimes the original mesh gets kind of warped too much. So make sure you're flipping back and forth with the sub-D on and off, just to make sure your mesh is not too weird. Okay, it's pretty good. Let's also get rid of these things here. Edge, clear, seam. And let's add a seam here and here to make it easier for us to select edge, mark seam. So this way we can just do that. Okay, so I think this is looking pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Let's look at our example. And let's leave isolate and GX. So I think next we need to add this platform base here, and then add some thickness to the shoe. So it's got a little return lip, and depending on your use of the shoe, you might want to have a surface inside here. This one doesn't have it, so if you're here and you look on the inside of the shoe, say if you're in Unity or something, this would be transparent. So sometimes you don't want that. And so you'd have to add an inside surface, or you'd pull the lip in further to intersect into the foot. If you're staying in Blender only, you can leave it the way it is here, where it's only an outside surface. Okay, so let's go and add those here. So let's grab this. And let's go here, LL, mesh, separate selection, grab this again, isolate, isolate, and okay, what we want to do is you want to make a flat surface here, but I also want to make a little racetrack running around the whole thing. So let's go and do that. Let's go to edge mode, grab that, E to extrude, drop it, turn this off, and Alt, and let's go around bounding box center. So Alt S to bring the whole thing in. That's weird. Okay, so something weird's going on. So I want this whole thing to scale inwards, normal to itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude, escape to drop it, then G and Z to pull that up. Go to face mode, grab that, Alt S to pull the whole thing in. And now we've got this little race track that's going kind of flat. Then X and faces. Let's go to edge mode, grab that, and let's G and Z again and pull it down just a bit. And then let's go here and use the F command from the plugin F2 to close this all up. Control R. Okay, now we've got our little foundation. That's good. Let's make sure this is a seam here. Edge, mark seam. Okay. So that's pretty good. It's a nice little platform. We can use that for many different types of shoes, so we'll save that as a template. But first, let's go and thicken up these surfaces here. Let's go to isolate mode, grab that, face mode, A, then let's go to solidify. So we'll go add modifier and solidify. And then let's go and drag this solidify modifier on top of the sub D like that. And then let's make this 002. So this here, that controls how thick it goes. This controls the offset, so you can go inward. Let's see, this is easier to see it. This controls the direction, or the original offset of it. This controls how much it goes. Okay, so this is good. wait a minute. No, I want this to go inwards, so this is good. Let's turn this back on. And then let's go to object mode and then apply. And it doesn't work because we have, okay, so I had shape keys here from before. It's a nice way to do animations and things, like expressions. But if we don't want that, we can grab our shape key that we want to delete and apply selected shape key to basis. And so now this shape key is dead. It doesn't do anything. We can delete that. This one has the old shape key, so you can see it goes back to it. But we actually don't want that, so let's delete that. And if you don't need any shape keys, you can delete that too. So now this has no shape key. Go back to here and apply. So now this is the original shape. So I'm not going to need the inside surfaces. If you do need it, then leave them there. But I'm going to get rid of them. And so let's grab those edges and edge mark sharp, mark seam. Go to face mode, L and L, X and faces. And then let's also, we need to get these two. Let's also delete these bottom faces. So we'll shift click all these, edge and mark seam, face mode, L, L, X, faces. Okay. Let's also mark these as sharp. So shift E +1 and then edge mark sharp. So it's nice and crispy. We'll have to soften this out, but we'll do this when we're doing the normal map. But so for now, this is fine. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. This, so what we've got here, this is a nice kind of generic shoe that you can use to make all different kinds of shoes. So we'll save that as a template shoe also. Okay, so we want to join these two, but if you'll remember, we deleted the shape keys from this part, but not for this part. And so weird things kind of happen sometimes. So for example, if you grab this one here, then shift click that one there, Control J, it's okay. If you grab the base and then grab the top here, Control J, you know, weird things happen because the shape keys mess things up like that. So we'll have to do the same thing. So go to, so grab the one with the shape keys, go and grab the shape key that's active and apply to basis like that, and then just delete. Oh, also, don't delete the bases first. Weird things happen. So delete the other shape keys first, and then the bases, and then it's all good. Then you can join it, and it should be fine. Okay, so now this is a nice, good, basic shoe. No, let's join these here. So we'll go click, M at first. Let's do the same thing here. Click. Oops. Oh, click, M at first. Let's do the same thing here. I can't see what's going on here. So click, shift click, M at first, and then click, shift click, M at first. Okay, so now we're kind of buttoned up here. Looks like it's peeling up a little bit. It's just the sub D kind of does weird things sometimes. But I think it's actually okay. In fact, I bet you we should join this whole we should join the whole thing. So let's go and join all the points. So we can do this by going to point mode, hit A to select all, and you can merge by distance. So we try and find, merge by distance is good, but sometimes it's bad. Let me just show you why. So hit A, hit M by distance. And so you can see like these points we don't want to merge those. And so if this number is too high, you'll see that it'll actually merge. Like say if this is like that, it'll merge what we don't want to merge. So make sure this number is, when you do merge by distance, make sure this number is very, very low. Like that. And then if you go to face mode and then grab these surfaces and move it, you can see they stick together nicely. Okay, so this is a nice template for lots of shoes or high heels or flats or whatever. So let's Shift D to duplicate that. And let's save this as flat blank. Let's hide that. So this way you can skip doing all this stuff for many different types of shoes. Okay, so let's look at our example here again. And let's see what to do next. So next, let's add our toe cap here to there. And then let's add our little strap detail. Okay, let's grab this here. Let's just grab that there. Edge and mark seam. And then let's face mode, L, grab that. And we will E to extrude, drop it with the escape key, and let's turn this off so we can see better. And then Alt S to scale this up a bit. Okay, let's turn that back on, and it looks really goofy. It's okay. Let's go ahead and grab that and Shift grab that. Shift E +1 and edge mark sharp. And same thing for here. Grab this guy, and that guy. Shift E +1 and edge mark sharp. Oops. Edge mark sharp. There. Okay, so we've got that there. If we don't like that shape, we can tweak it a bit. I don't think I do like it. So I'm going to pull it in a bit. So GX, pull that in just a bit. This one actually looked okay. I don't think I like that either. GX, pull that in a bit. And let's just make sure our foot is now not sticking out. So let's unisolate. Okay, we're okay. Okay, so we've got our little shoe cap here. A little warbly, but we can tweak that later. Let's just get our main geometry made. So now let's go and make this little strap thing here. You can see it's kind of it's got a thickness, a wall thickness, a fake wall thickness on top of this fake wall thickness. So let's go and make, and then we have these straps. So let's go and make all that. Okay, so how do we add this strap here? Let's grab our mesh, and I'm going to duplicate some faces, but I remember that this has the shape keys. So let's go and apply to basis and delete, delete, delete. And then let's go and grab this. Face mode grabs that. Control grabs that. Shift D, escape. Mesh, separate selection. Object mode, grab that. And then edit mode. A, make sure you're in face mode. Alt S to push that out of it. Back to object mode. Shift click that. Control J. And we've got two materials in our object here, so let's go to materials and delete that. Okay, so now we've got our strap up here. Let's make this strap smaller. Go to face mode, alt click that, X and faces. And then we're going to extrude these guys out. Whoops. Can't see here. Let's go to isolate mode. E to extrude. And so we have 1, 2, 3 cuts. So I'm just temporarily doing this to see how many loops I have going through this thing. I have 3. So let's Control Z that. Go here, Control R, and add 3 cuts. And then let's turn off our sub D so we can see better. F, and then F, F, F. Okay, so now we're connected. Do the same thing here. Shift click that. F, and then F, F, F. Okay, so that's connected. But I think we're going to need some more geometry here. Let's sharpen this up here. Let's grab that, Shift E, +1, edge, mark, sharp. Okay, and then let's bring back our foot. Okay, let's hit a Control R here, grab that and Alt S, just pop it out a bit. Let's make sure it's not looking funny. Maybe we need to pull this out, so turn on proportional editing and GX, pull that a bit. This looks a little close here too. Yeah, we're overlapping. So let's go to face mode and GX. And then let's actually push these out first. GX. And then edge mode, Control R. Let's grab that one and Alt S. Then point mode, I can't see. Alt S. Let's zoom in here. And let's do this. Double hit G, pull that down. And then Alt S. Let's have it pop out just where we need it. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's see something funny here. This should be together, so let's click that and shift click that. M at first. Let's do the same thing over here. Can't see. Okay, click, shift click, M at first. Okay. Okay, so we've got a basic strap there. It looks okay, so now let's go and add this little overlap here and the wall thickness. Okay, let's build this. Let's cut this and extend the strap. So we will go to face mode here, grab this X and faces, go to edge mode, grab that. And let's just actually first let's pull this in a bit. So let's see here, GX and pull that in. Okay, I think that's okay. And then now let's grab this. Oops, grab that. And we will E to extrude. And this G to pull it back a bit. Let's turn off proportional editing. Okay, let's E to extrude again. Let's pull that back a bit. I know we're breaking through there, it's okay. Let's E to extrude one more time. That's pretty good. Let's go and grab that loop. Where is it? Right there. And Alt S to pop it out. Let's grab this one here. And let's pull this back a bit. And scale it in a bit. Okay. Maybe let's pull this in a bit. So it's more curving outwards. Oops. Let's pop those out a bit. I didn't realize it was so close. And let's pull these in also with our double G. And let's pull these down with our double G and then Alt S to pop it out. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Looks like a strap thing. Okay, let's add some thickness here. So let's go to isolate mode and we will go to face mode, hit L and L and L. And then mesh separate selection, leave object mode, go edit mode, go back to edit mode, and A, and solidify. And let's pull this up here. Oops, pull that up there. Make this 002. And then let's make sure there's no sub shape keys. Okay. Object mode and apply. Edit mode, and let's turn off our sub D so we can see better. Go to edge mode, and we will grab some edges here. So we're going to create seams so we can select what we want to delete. Okay, like that. And edge mark seam. Oops. And turn off X-ray mode. So I think that's it. Then we'll hit L, 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 X, and faces. And then that should be, let's turn on. It's hard to see what's going on here. I think these, let's go to edge mode and pull these in a bit. SX. And then let's see, let's take these off and GZ, GY. Okay, that's a little bit easier to see. And let's add some sharp edges here. Like that. And let's get this one here too. And then Shift E +1. And then edge mark sharp. Turn this guy on. Oops. Okay, that's better. Not sure if I'm digging that. I think you need to just either sharpen it or throw geometry at it. So let's see here. Shift E, +1. Oh, I guess that's okay. It makes it a little bit sharp there, but I think no one's going to notice that, so that's okay. Let's pull this out so that way it's not overlapping there. Let's do the same thing for here. Okay, so we've got our thickness there. And then we just need to add our little buckle detail. And I think we'll be good to go. But let's take a second here just to sculpt this around and get it in shape. Okay, let's see here. So I think we also have extra faces here. Let's turn this off so I can see better. Okay, so we don't need these bottom faces. Let's delete that. Delete that. Let's also make sure these are sharp. Shift E +1 and edge mark sharp. So this way, Shift E +1, edge mark sharp. Maybe these need it too. Edge mark sharp, Shift E +1. Okay, there we go. So now it's nice and crispy. And well, let's bring back our foot so you can make sure this is fitting it. And let's also join this. So we will Control J to join that. Let's go to edit mode, A, merge, M to merge, and go by distance. So this way all these parts that were separate are now joined. And then let's go to sculpt mode and face sets and initiate. And now let's just take a second to straighten up that band a bit. Pull that down a bit. Let's go to edit mode and grab a couple edges and pull them back. Oops. So it smooths it out. And let's see here. Let's go to face mode. And let's pull these out with proportional editing turned on. Maybe back here too. GY, like that. Maybe here too, GY, GX. Not too much. And let's just pull these points out with a double G. Careful with that, because what happens is this is the real geometry, so it's super close. So you don't want to make it touch. Let me do that. Maybe it's better to grab the edges and pull them out. Oops. Yeah, I think it's okay. Okay, so I think that is looking pretty good. Maybe pull this out a bit here and there. Yeah, okay. I think we're looking pretty good. So now we just need our little clasp detail, and then I think we should be good to go. Okay, so let's go over here, go to face mode. Let's grab some faces. Shift D, mesh, separate selection, object mode, edit mode, A. Let's turn this off. Alt S to pull it out a bit. Then let's S to scale it up a bit. And then go to edge mode and double hit G to pull this back. So, you know, just kind of shape this to what you want. Okay. Face mode, A, E to extrude. Then we've got our little buckle thing here. And let's select this. X, dissolve edges. Let's hit A with edge mode selected. Shift E +1. And edge mark sharp. Okay, and let's grab this guy here and face mode. A, Shift D, S to scale it down. Let's go to X-ray so you can see it. S to scale down. And then GX to pull it out. Let's grab that front face and GX to pull that out. So this is the part that people would actually Alt S to pull that out, and then rotate that just a bit. Okay, and then let's temporarily make a new color for this. Okay. Okay, so that'll be our little buckle thing. You could square that up if you want to, and we'll round this off with the high poly version. Oh, maybe we can do it a little bit here. This is probably too much detail, but well, Shift B, oops, Control B, just knock it down a bit, maybe a bit more. So you just kind of soften it just a little bit. Okay, I think that's good enough. And let's see here. I guess we can join this. Okay, so that is it's our basic shoe. So we've got our shoe there. Make sure we named it right. So we'll call this you know, fancy flat shoe. Okay, so we've got our shoe all modeled. And then I think now we need to just throw some UVs on there. Okay, so let's hide this guy. We can grab our shoe here, isolate, go to UV editing. Whoops, let's isolate again. Shift A, S, IMA, image texture, go to here, new, let's call this shoe UV. Let's make this 2048 by 2048 and OK. And then let's go over here to shoe UV. Okay. So we'll use that for our shoe. If you want a higher resolution, go ahead and make a higher resolution. Okay, so let's go to edit mode and A, and let's just, well, let's just see what happens here. So UV, unwrap. Okay, so it looks like things may have already been broken up okay. I'm going to explain this anyway in case you're not familiar with UVing. So basically, when you UV map, you're cutting up your surfaces into little areas you can flatten out. So for example, here, this is the toe, and over here you can see this is the toe all flattened out. And you want to cut little sections that can like logically be flattened out. And so here you can see we made all these little seams by alt clicking edges. Then go to edge and mark seam. And we were doing that because that's an easy way to select things. It's also useful, and that's how you mark boundaries for your UVs. So you can see this is not perfect because we've got a surface here, and then we have a little trim for it here, and which is over here. And you can see it goes all the way under. So this is not perfect. So we need to like fix it. Oh yeah. Okay, so and we have a surface down here actually that we don't need. So let's go and unclick that and X and delete faces. Okay, so now let's go and join this UV to this one over here. So we'll grab this edge and go to edge and clear seam, and then grab this again and UV unwrap. And now it's one thing. Don't worry about the size, we'll fix all that later. So that's that. Here too, we can clear this seam. So edge, so alt click that, then edge and clear seam. Go to face mode, L, and UV unwrap. That looks good over there. So the red line is the seam. The pink line, that's a sharp edge. So you want to use the red for the seams. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's see here. This is the shoe base, but we don't want all of this part up here with the base. So let's do this. Let's figure out where we want the base to stop. And I think we want it to stop, oops, there. I think that's where we want the base to stop. Or do you want it to be there? Yeah, I think that's better. So go to edge and mark seam. And then we'll hit, go to face mode and hit L. Okay, I think this bottom platform of the shoe you want to be separate from this side of the heel. So go to edge mode and just select all around the heel and edge and mark seam, and then go back to face mode, click off in space, and then hover over and hit L. Okay, so I think that is our base. So UV unwrap, looks good. Okay, and these sidewalls, let's see what we got here. I think the sidewalls should be separate from the heel, so let's just grab that and mark that. Edge, mark seam. And then let's also mark a seam for here too. Edge, mark seam. Okay, go to face mode. That's the heel. And that's the sidewalls of the heel. So UV unwrap. L, UV unwrap. Now, I'm not worried about all of this layout here because we'll deal with it later. So I'm just moving it aside so I can see what's left. Okay, so we've got the base here, and then we've got that there. And let's see here. I'm trying to think of how shoes are made and kind of how this should be textured. So I think, oops, face mode, and I think we don't want this part selected. So let's go to edge mode and alt click and Alt click and edge mark seam, and go to face mode and click Alt and space and then L, and I think that is correct. Let's go to X-ray. Yeah, so it looks like we've got the sidewall and a bit of the top. I think shoes are kind of like that. We need to also put a seam for this ring, so the insides of the feet are seen less often, and since we have a surface coming down into here, you won't notice as much right here, this little seam. So let's go to edge and mark seam, face mode, L, UV unwrap. Okay, that's good. I think the toe is already done. Is this part done? That's done. This heel, is that done? Looks okay. Yeah, that looks okay. Okay. Not so sure about that one. I mean, it kind of looks okay. This is weird. It might be a little bit difficult to fit that on this little UV layout here. So I'm going to just throw a little cut in here like that. Edge, oops, edge, mark, seam, and then go to face mode and L, and UV and unwrap. I think that'll be a little easier to fit. And let's get these little buckles here. So let's here. What should we do here? Let's go and do this. Just mark these 4 edges. I mean the 4 corners. Edge and mark seam. Go to face mode, L and L. And yeah, see, that's not working. So UV unwrap. Oh. Oh, okay. So I had a back surface there, so we don't need that. So go to face mode, and we want to select. Should be a dot. I can't see the dot. There should be a dot in the middle of each face, and I can't see it for some reason. So let's just pull that out. GX. Then X and faces. We'll do the same thing here. GX. X and faces. GX. L, GX. Let's pull this back in place there. Turn off X-ray. And then UV unwrap. Okay, that looks more logical. So everything should be able to be laid out flat like that, and not be too distorted where you can't you can't apply your textures. So hit A, UV unwrap, and that looks pretty good. That's awful long. Might be okay, but we could also just throw a little cut there. Alt click that. Edge, mark, seam, face mode, A, UV, unwrap. Okay, I think that would probably fit a little bit better. So if you're just going to texture paint in Blender, then you can probably just go with that. But I like to do certain things in Photoshop, and so for Photoshop or GIMP or whatever, it's nice to straighten out some of these parts so it maps more logically, and I can explain that better. Let's bring in our example shoe here. Okay, Turn on shaded mode. Okay, so that's better. So for example, this area right here, I needed to have that UV a little more even, so that way I need this UV to be a little bit more even and straight, so that way in Photoshop I can just throw in a texture map and it would lay out nicely. So for certain places you need to kind of do that. So it's time consuming and tedious and no one likes it, but it's kind of good to do this. Unless you're only going to texture in the 3D painting, then you don't really need to do any of that. But I will show you how to lay out the UVs more like this. Okay, so let's duplicate this and we'll add a texture map here. I'll put a link in the description for this UV map for you to use. And then let's attach this to the base color here. Okay, so now you can kind of get a sense of the scale, and it looks like these squares are all roughly the same size, so I think that's okay. Okay, let's go to edit mode here and let's figure out which of these we want to lay out flat. So let's get this, move it out of the way here. And I want that one to be rather flat. So let's put that there. I think that's okay. This one here has that pattern on it. So let's grab that one. And this one here. Oops. And so let's see, I'm looking at the square patterns and seeing how it's lined up. So here you can see the pattern. Let's see here. It's roughly straight across. So let's do the same thing for these here. Let's make this roughly straight. Like that. And then let's do the same thing for this one here. So this is coming straight and it's kind of parallel to this here. So let's do the same thing, and that's pretty good. These don't need to be exactly. Okay. And let's see here with the shoe base. Straight up and down is pretty good. So let's bring that over here. Same thing for here and there. Let's put that there and put that there. It's also kind of nice to lay out your UVs so they're just logical. So I'm going to try and put this heel close to the heel sidewall close to the heel here. And it's kind of handy to straighten out these strips like here. So say if you wanted to make it a wood heel, it would map nicely because this would be straight. So let's do that here, go to edge mode and right click and align. Okay, so we need to, when you select an edge or some points and it's connecting to something else, then whatever you transform will affect the other part of it. So what you need to do is go to face mode and L, Control I, H, then go back to edge mode and then line X, align Y, go to face mode, grab that, L, right click, follow active quads, and then Alt H, and brings everything back, and now this is perfectly straight here. We'll just put that there for now. What else do we have here? Heel, Not sure how I want to map that, so I think it's just going to leave it like that. Let's bring that over there. This toe should be kind of straight that way, so let's do that. Let's move this over here and rotate it like that. Okay, then let's see what else we got here. These little trim pieces. Let's see, these are our latch. Let's just put that there for now. Then we've got this main side wall. So let's bring this down there. Control I, H. And then we'll do this here. And then align X, align X. Align, whoops, align Y, and I had overlapping geometry there, so align X, and I want to make sure, I think that's still doing something. Wait a minute. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't have a duplicated edge there that's not being used. Or duplicated faces, but it's actually being used, so that's okay. Okay, get that. L, right click, follow active quads. Let's do the same thing for here. So here, and align X, then align Y, face mode, grab that, L, right click, follow active. Okay. That down here, then Alt H, and let's grab these and move it near the base of our shoe. So we'll have to lay this all out better later. Okay, like that. And then let's see what else we got here. What is this? Okay, this is part of the sidewall for the shoe. I guess it transitions from here into there. So that should be kind of around this heel. So let's just scale it up a little bit. That should be okay. Let's see what this is here. Okay, this is part of the trim piece here. And it connects to that one, and oops. This and this go together, and this one does too. See, it's making seams because we have this surface here breaking it. So this is kind of a weird construction. So what we can do is you can grab all of these. Just temporarily just break it off like that and like that, and then go to mesh, separate selection, go out of edit mode, grab that, go back into edit mode, let's see here. Let's just see what happens if we unwrap it. Okay, it's not what we want. Let's go to isolate mode and look at this here, and let's break some of these seams. So I'm going to go to this mode here, and then go to edge mode. And I'm going to grab these. And if you can see that, it's hard to see. Grab those and go to edge, clear seam. I'm going to go down here, go ahead and grab that one and that one, and edge, mark seam, and then I'm going to UV unwrap, and that's better to deal with. And since we're here, let's also straighten these out. So grab that, align X, then Shift R, Shift R, Shift R. Then let's grab these and align Y. And align Y, grab that, L, right click, all active quads, same thing. Okay. And then let's go to object mode, unisolate, Shift click our shoe, Control J, isolate, go back into edit mode, go to point mode, A, M, by distance. And that should be good. Okay, so now when we go to face mode, these should again be attached. Yep, good. Okay. Okay, so that's all of our UVs laid out. Let's go and check our sizing because these might be messed up. And yes, it looks like these squares are smaller. So let's scale that until these squares on this little trim area is the same as that. And that looks about right. Okay, so next we need to make all of this stuff fit onto half of this rectangle because we're going to have two shoes. And I'm just wondering, did we do this one here? Yeah, we did. Okay. Okay, so let's make all this squish into half of this square. Okay, so here's our shoe top area and here's that trim. So let's put those kind of close together. Let's put that pretty close together. Let's put that close together. Okay, let's just move that over there. So this is just, you know, it's like a little jigsaw puzzle. Just lay things out so it's roughly in half this UV layout. And then we're going to duplicate the shoe and then move the UVs for that duplicated side over and mirror it. Okay. So let's move this down a bit. And the idea with laying UVs is you want to make everything big enough, small enough so it fits onto the whole square, but as big as possible. And I think this is okay. Not really sure. But, well, let's just try and make it work. Let's see, what was this guy here? This was that sidewall and sidewall. Okay, so let's just put that over here. This part's awful long. So let's hope we can fit this here. For these, since I want these textures to be straight, if you rotate them on a 90, it still works out pretty good. If you rotate it on a 45, then sometimes it makes it a little bit more difficult to lay out textures in Photoshop. If you're really close, oh, looks like it fits. If you're really close, you can cheat though, and you can like scooch things around. Make sure you have proportional editing turned on. And you could, you know, kind of nudge things. Things is actually okay. Let's grab these guys, pull them over here. Oh, darn. So close. Let's see here. Rotate 180. So I bet you we could do this. Bet you we could. Trying to find a nice break so it's not super obvious. So let's go to turn off partial editing, and then it just breaks it, so we can do that. I think that won't be a big deal. And yeah, and I think that fits. It's actually a little bit small. Okay, so that's our UV layout for half of our shoe, or one of our shoes. And it looks okay. Okay, that's it for our video today. I hope that was useful to you. If it was, leave a comment to let me know, or like or subscribe, or better yet, support me on Patreon. And in the next video, we will texture this with a normal map and a color map. Okay, thanks.